Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Oh my God, it's been such a long day. I have been doing stuff around the house all day long. I haven't even filmed that many videos today, honestly. And then my cousin Caroline picked me up for Cousin Fun Day, and we ran around, and I got back later than I thought I was going to. And so I was like, I don't really know what to film. And so let me kind of explain some things to you. This is going to be a really, really short video today. Probably like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. Now watch, I say that, and it ended up being 45 minutes. So this is the deal. And I feel like this is such a serious topic that I'm not going to start with a 20-minute intro or fan flipping and things like that. But I feel like I need to address this because I am getting just inundated, okay, with DMs on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, so many people, I've even gotten emails about this, of people wanting me to cover two specific stories. They want me to talk about Wendy Williams and the documentary that came out about Wendy Williams and what is going on with her and her health and things like that. And people are also wanting me to talk about this new documentary that just came out, I believe on Sunday and Monday, and it's called On the Set, and it's on, I think, ID and Max. And it's about the history of child stars on Nickelodeon shows. And a lot of it is surrounding Drake Bell's talking about sexual abuse allegations and things like that. And it also talks about Dan Schneider, who was the producer of many of these shows, and the toxic environment that he allowed, and that just asking people for massages on the set, and that he saw a lot of this stuff go, and writing inappropriate jokes that weren't really for kids and things like that. And to be honest with you, I don't really understand a lot of it. So here's the thing, okay? Let's address the Wendy Williams thing first. So many people, when the Wendy Williams documentary came out, I got so many DMs from people, and they're like, oh my God, are you going to talk about Wendy Williams? You're going to talk about Wendy Williams and Wendy Williams and all this kind of stuff, right? And I even talked to my best friend, because my best friend Tanya watched the show that night, and I was like, she watched the documentary. She sat down and watched it right away. Well, she did watch Wendy Williams for a long time, and I said, what did you think? Because so many people are asking me to cover it, and she said, it's very, very sad. She goes, it's really, really sad, and you know, it talks about all this health issues in there and things like that, and she's like, it's bizarre how the whole thing is filmed and whatever. So at that point, I'm like in the middle of like watching all these true crime documentaries and things like that, because I wanted to start doing more true crime over here. And I really, to be honest with you, I was like, I'm going to put that on the back burner and watch that later. I was just, you know, it just wasn't something that, it just was so, I didn't want to watch, people, when I say this, it's like, they're like, well, you watch a lot of true crime and isn't that sad? It is sad, but it's investigative. I didn't want to just hear about the sad life of somebody, if that makes sense. And so I was like, I will watch it, but I will put it on the back burner for a little while. And here's the reality, right? Is that and I think this is why so many people ask me to do it, is that I grew up, you know, in the world of talk television and talk shows. I grew up, you know, watching Phil Donahue and Oprah and Geraldo. I loved all of his Club Kid, you know, shows that he did where they'd all come in there, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I watched all those back in the day. I watched Geraldo a lot when I was growing up, and Ricky Lake and Jenny Jones and what's her name? Sally Jesse Raphael and Joan Rivers and all them. I watched all of them for a very, very long time, you know, and loved talk shows. Grew up watching them with my mom. Grew up, you know, after I grew up, watched them, you know, and stuff like that. Watched them for a very long time afterwards. My old roommate and I, we used to watch Geraldo all the time. Wanted to go to New York City and be a Club Kid just because of those Club Kid episodes, which you can still watch on YouTube. I watch them all the time. So anyway, those were the talk shows that I watched, but I never really watched Wendy Williams. In fact, it's so interesting because I was just in a video the other day and I was talking about how I was getting a pedicure, and while I was getting a pedicure, there on the Sherry show, Sherry was interviewing, I think it's Sherry Shepherd was interviewing Angela Bassett, and I was like, I didn't even know she had a talk show. Number one, I thought she was a comedian, and number two, she had Angela Bassett on there. And a couple of people in the comment sections were like, oh yeah, she took over for the Wendy Williams show. I had no clue, you guys. And in all honesty, I mean, I maybe watched a couple clips of some Wendy Williams episodes. I don't know that I've ever watched a Wendy Williams show all the way through. The most I know about Wendy Williams is like housewives that have commented about her and their relationship with her, like Nene Leakes used to talk about her back in the day, or other people that had relationships with Wendy Williams, or from memes and GIFs that I've seen online. That's really the extent of what I know about Wendy Williams, you know? And anything that I talk about over here, I have to have some kind of like almost personal attachment or personal interest in for me to talk about. And so I don't want to just like watch some sad documentary to report on it, right? But now I'm even more intrigued by it because of all these people. And I've had like a lot of people in my personal life are like, oh, Peter, I think that because of this person that you know or that person that you know that you would really love to hear the story about this because it's so sad and so tragic of what happened that I think that because of personal experiences that of people that you know in your life, things I haven't even shared online, that you might understand the story of Wendy Williams. Plus it's like, you know, so sad how it's all shown and stuff like that. So I'm going to watch that documentary and I will do a video about it. The other thing that people have asked me to talk about, like I said, is this On the Set documentary with Dan Schneider. I have to tell you, I didn't even know that I didn't know who Dan Schneider was. I didn't know, I mean, I had watched, you know, there's some YouTubers that had made videos about like Drake Bell and Dan Schneider and stuff like that. And I'd seen those titles come up and in all honesty, didn't really watch those videos because I really wasn't that interested in it. They've been doing those videos for like, you know, years. I didn't even know who Dan Schneider was until I started reading these articles. And I was like, oh, he's the producer of these Nickelodeon shows. So this On the Set documentary is about all of this like toxic and abusive relationship or behaviors that toxic and abusive behaviors that occurred and inappropriate behaviors that occurred on the set of these Nickelodeon shows. Now I have to tell you, okay, until I read these articles and I started hearing about like iCarly and the Amanda Show, I didn't even know there was a show called the Amanda Show. I couldn't even name for you 5 Nickelodeon shows. That's like 25 years like after me. 25 years after me. It's just, it's not my demographic at all of like what I've watched. You know, I grew up watching Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Charlie's Angels, The Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, things like that. You know, Brady Bunch. That had its own set of problems as well. But, you know, those Partridge Family, those are the shows that I grew up watching. I don't know these Nickelodeon shows. You know, I don't know anything about them. I have never even heard. I don't think I could probably name, like I said, 5 Nickelodeon shows for you, like, just off the top of my head, you know? And I definitely don't think that I could name for you, like, I was watching this thing and it was showing, like, Heather Locklear and then it was showing, like, Britney Spears. I was like, was Britney Spears on Nickelodeon shows? Was Heather Locklear? I was so confused by this. I was like, so I'm going to watch the documentary, but like Drake Bell's coming into a lot of this because he is talking about these allegations of sexual abuse that he actually testified against this Brian Peck and all this stuff that Brian Peck ended up going to prison and then he ended up working for the Disney Channel afterwards, which is like crazy. And then Dan Schneider came out today or yesterday, I think yesterday, with an apology to all the people that he worked with and addressed inappropriate jokes. And he was asking people for massages on the set. It's just so beyond bizarre, you know? I don't know that I think it's super surprising in the world that we live in that these things occurred, but it's sad. It's desperately sad, and I think that when you're talking about, you know, anybody, just anybody's lived experience of abuse or abusive situations, but especially when you're talking about children that are going through this, you know, and I think one of the reasons why people have been asking me, like I've gotten so many messages where people have said, Peter, you talk so much about James Charles and Colleen Ballinger. This is why this is an important topic to talk about this On the Set documentary. Because if you, again, we need to keep the conversation alive. It's the same reason why we need to talk about Colleen Ballinger and stuff. And I totally understand that, and I respect that opinion, and I agree with that opinion. So for that reason, I will watch the documentary. I will read the articles. I don't want to do a video just to get something out there where the timing is trendy because the documentary just came out and all the articles are being written and Dan Schneider came out with an apology. I don't, and Drake Bell's talking about all these allegations and addressing them. I don't want to come out because the irons are hot and talk about this right now because I don't want to give a negligent response to it without being educated on it. Like I said, I don't know these Nickelodeon shows. I don't know these Nickelodeon actors. I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched the documentary and I haven't read the articles and I haven't even watched the YouTube videos. I watched a couple of them, you know? So I think a topic this important, it's one of the reasons why, like, if you've watched me for a long time, you'll know that back in the day, when the James Charles allegations initially came out, I did not cover them. I was one of the very few channels that did not cover it, because at that time, I didn't really feel like I had a lot of information and I really knew what was going on. I just didn't feel like I really knew that much about what was going on to address it. And so I just didn't. It was like something that I stayed away from. And I also don't love talking about deep, dark topics on my channel. I just don't enjoy it. I just don't love it, right? But I also... my opinion has changed a little bit about that, because back in the day, I felt like I don't like to talk about this stuff. I don't want to talk about this stuff, and I don't know that much about it. Therefore, I won't talk about it. I feel that the conversation is important today, and enough people have asked me to talk about it that I will do the research, and I will come back and I will share my opinion about it to keep the conversation going for those people that watch my channel. The reason why I'm making this video today, and it's going to be a very short video because I'm not going to draw this out to 30 or 40 minutes. The reason why I'm doing this today is because every single day and every single time I get on social media, I'm getting more and more DMs of people asking me, why aren't you addressing this? You address Colleen, you address James, why aren't you addressing this? And I just wanted to come out and make it very, very clear that the reason why I haven't yet is because I do not want to come out with a uneducated, negligent response about something that I don't know about. And I just want to make that very, very clear. With other issues that I've talked about, I educate myself before I talk about them. And on a situation that is this serious, I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I get in the video and talk about it. So I will watch the Wendy Williams documentary and read some articles and responses to it. And I will also watch the On the Set documentary and read the articles and the responses and everything that's going on with Amanda Bynes and Drake Bell and everybody that was in the documentary. And I will educate myself, and at that time, I will come out and make a video. But I just wanted to get on here today and let you guys know that, and let you guys know that's why. For anybody that's interested, I'm sure some people are like, I never ask and I don't care. But for those of you that do care or wondered why I wasn't doing it, that's why. And I just wanted to jump on here and let you guys know this. Know that I think this is the shortest video that I have made in probably the last 2 years. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.